Good morning in Italy, good evening here in Australia. My name is Andrea Tenconi. I'm the trade analyst that looks after capital goods and technologies for Australia and New Zealand here at the Sydney office of the Italian Trade Agency. And it's my pleasure to hand over the virtual microphone to the director of the Sydney office of the Italian Trade Agency, the Trade Commissioner for Australia and New Zealand, Simona Bernardini. Over to you. You're on mute, sorry.
Yeah, I'm on mute. Thank you very much, Andrea, grazie. Buongiorno a tutti dall'Italia, welcome everybody. And as already Andrea introduced you, I'm Simona Bernardini. I'm the Trade Commissioner of the Italian Trade Agency office in Sydney. We are responsible for Australia and New Zealand. And thank you for participating in this webinar. We organized and we are organizing together with our headquarters in Rome. And for this, I would like to thank my colleague Francesca Lanza, and also in collaboration with the National Association ANIE, represented today by Ludovica Zigon, coordinator over the Internationalization Committee, and with the Italian Embassy in Canberra, today represented by Daniele Loi, head of the Commercial office, and also by the deputy head of the mission, Roberto Rizzo. And I'd like also to thank the consuls general and the consuls connected from the various Australian cities today, and the colleagues of the Italian Chambers of Commerce in Australia, and David Connolly-Hay, a business development manager in Invest South Australia Department for Trade and Investment. This webinar aims to present you the result of research we carried out in the Australia energy market with a focus on renewables with the company Altios Australia, whose speaker today is Kai Wen, the project manager. In commissioning the study, from the beginning, we were convinced of the wide possibilities for business and industrial cooperation for the Italian companies for two main reasons. The first is the amount of the Australian public and private investments in the field constantly increasing, and the second is the technological and technical innovation of the capabilities of the Italian energy industry in the sectors of renewables, waste management, sustainable construction, and hydrogen. These two reasons are closely related to each other, and we are sure that our company can play a decisive role in the challenges arising from the ecological and digital transition in Australia. Why Australia? Why a so wide market so far away? I will answer to these questions by illustrating some impressive data I hope will convince you to take a step forward toward a notion of opportunities. According to important data sources, Australia is a top 20 country. I'm going to share with you my desktop, just a second. I hope to be able to do that. This one, entire screen. And they share, and this one. Okay, so as you can see, this is Australia at a glance. And Australia is now recognized as the third in the OECD for household income, with a 9x average earning in the OECD. The sixth largest pool of managed funds, the ninth largest stock market, and the 10th largest foreign exchange and debt markets in the world. It's the first place at the first place in the world for installed solar capacity per capita, the largest global exporter of liquefied natural gas by quantity, and one of the top 5 global producers of gold, uranium, and zinc, the 40th largest destination for global direct investment, and the 6th in the world for fintech, and the 2nd in the Asia-Pacific region. The 12th largest economy in the world, the world's largest producers of lithium, zirconium, and titanium mineral sand, the 2nd largest producers of cobalt, the 4th largest producer of rare earths, and the 7th largest producer of antimony. The first in the OECD for attracting highly educated migrants, the 5th university in the world's top 50, rank 50, and the 3rd in the world for workforce diversity, and the 2nd highest proportion of foreign-born citizens in the OECD. Going ahead, as far as the general data are concerned, we have to notice that the population has increased and now has reached 27 million people, and the GDP is again increasing, and it's now 2.53 trillion Australian dollars. The GDP per capita is 95,569 Australian dollars. The macroeconomic projections are also very good, even though the growth is slowing. The real GDP growing percentage in 2022 was 3.7%, and in 2023, 1.8%, and the projections in 25 is still going up to 1.8, though in 2024 the projections are about 1.3. So the consumer price index percentage change in 2023 was 5.5, and is going down in 2024. It's foreseen that it will go down in 2024 and stopping to 3.3, and in 2025, 2.8. The unemployment rate, as you can see, is very low. In 2023 was 3.7, though in 2024 and 25 the projections see an increase till 4.4. As far as the energy is concerned, the Australian government committed in the budget released on 2022-23 about 25 billion Australian dollars for the clean energy and renewables projects. And the aim is to powering Australia to deliver a cleaner energy future, modernizing Australia's electricity grid, reducing transport emissions, installing community batteries and solar banks, transforming regional communities, skilling the clean energy workforce. I conclude now, I close now, of course, presenting you the opportunity to take part, to participate to the Italian pavilion we are planning to organize in All Energy, who will take place in Melbourne on the 23rd and 24th October 2024. So I close here and I leave the floor to Andrea, and I will speak again later. Thank you again for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now over to our second greetings from the Embassy of Italy in Canberra.
Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon Simona, thank you to you and to the Italian Trade Agency for the kind invitation. On behalf of the Embassy of Italy in Australia, on behalf of the Italian ambassador, I would like to warmly welcome all the participants to this webinar, including the representatives of the Italian Federation ANIE and the numerous companies, Italian companies online. The Australian energy sector is evolving quite rapidly, and it is reaching opportunities for Italian companies, with some key players already actively operating in the country. The Italian technology, expertise and management are significantly appreciated by the Australian authorities, its business community. The energy transition is well underway also in Australia, a country that is well endowed with an abundance of natural resources. Without the ambition of anticipating the content of the research, of course, Australia has significantly expanded its portfolio of alternative resources with significant investments at federal and state level in renewables and in hydrogen. Together with the consulates, the Italian Trade Agency and the network of Italian chambers of commerce well established in this country, we are dedicating increasing attention and resources to the sector with a view of providing adequate support to Italian companies willing to explore the Australian market. To that end, a couple of months ago, the Italian Consulate General and the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Sydney organized, with our support, the Energy Forum, an important event that brought together a number of Italian and Australian stakeholders from the public and private sector. Last but not least, Italian private interests can rely also on the excellent bilateral scientific and technological cooperation between the two countries, based on the dedicated agreement signed in 2017, which is a full-fledged treaty that entered into force in 2021. I thank you all for the attention, and I look forward to listen to the main findings and suggestions of this presentation on the research conducted by Altius. Thank you very much, Simona, and thank you to all the participants. Have a fruitful webinar. Thank you very much.
And thank you to the Deputy Head of Mission, Mr. Roberto Rizzo. Now over to Ms. Zigon, Ludovica Zigon, who is the coordinator of the Internationalization Committee of the ANIE Federation.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to welcome to this meeting dedicated to Australia. First of all, let me thank the Italian Trade Agency for the organization of this webinar. A special thank to Simona Bernardini, Italian Trade Commissioners of Sydney's office, and Francesca Lanza. And thank you also to Mr. Rizzo for joining us today. I would like also to thank Kai Wen, who is about to give an overview of the great opportunities of the country, starting from a presentation of the very interesting market study that was realized on the energy sector, and that today we have the pleasure to present to all the companies that have joined us. The realization of the study and today's presentation are a part of a broader promotional plan that, together with the Italian Trade Agency and with the precious support of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is realized to give support on foreign markets to the Italian electrical, engineering and electronic companies that ANIE represents. I would like just to take a few minutes to introduce our federation. ANIE is the Italian federation representing the electrical, engineering and electronic industry and accounts 1,100 companies. The sector has 400,000 employees in Italy and a total turnover of 93 billion euros. Almost 60% of the production value comes from small and medium enterprises. ANIE companies are particularly active in foreign markets. The share of exports on total turnover is structurally higher than 50%, with a positive trade balance. In 2022, the Italian exports of electrical engineering and electronic technologies to Australia exceeded 500 million euros, recording a progressive growth in the last 3 years, which has allowed pre-pandemic levels to be exceeded. These numbers confirm how ANIE companies are looking at the Australian market with great attention. Today, our focus is on energy, mainly renewables and hydrogens, sectors that opens up significant prospects considering the ambition decarbonization target by 2050 set by the countries. So the market study presented today offers a general overview of the opportunities provided by Australia in the energy sector, and I'm sure it will lay the foundations for future commercial prospecting actions by ANIE and its members companies, which with their technological know-how can contribute concretely to the country's energy transition process. So I thank you all for your attention, and I hope we will all enjoy the output of the market study and the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is the time of our hero presenter, if you like, Kai Wen from the Altios agency. Please take it away.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Is my screen being shared?
Yes, all good.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I would first like to thank the Italian Trade Agency for having us today and for organizing this exciting and insightful webinar, especially Simona and Andrea, who have been a huge support in ensuring the success of this study. Just to briefly introduce myself, my name is Kai, a consultant from Altios, and we are a global firm dedicated to guiding businesses through their international expansion. At Altios, we specialize in providing strategic solutions for sustainable growth, and we are excited to share our insights with you on Australia's energy market today. Myself and our team in Australia, we carried out this market survey over a 3-month period last year to explore the opportunities and challenges within Australia's commitment to a greener future. Now let's dive into the study and examine some of the key insights we uncovered. So let's start with a quick overview of the energy market. Currently, Australia heavily relies on conventional and non-renewable fossil fuels for its energy supply, with coal accounting for the largest share of electricity generation, in Australia making up 47% of the total. Natural gas follows as the third largest energy source at 19%, playing a crucial role in powering not only homes, but also industries and factories throughout the country. However, the landscape is changing. The proportion of electricity generated from renewable sources has seen significant growth, rising from 10.5% in 2010 to an impressive 32% in 2022. Solar and wind have been primary drivers in this growth, with solar taking the lead, contributing 14% and wind at 11%. Furthermore, around a third of Australia's coal operations have been retired, including Liddell Power Station, one of the country's oldest coal power stations, due to the increasing affordability of renewable energy generated electricity. Now, going into 2024, there are several new developments in Australia's renewable energy direction, one of which is Australia's commitments at the recent COP28. Australia has set a primary objective of achieving 82% renewable power in its electricity grids by 2030, aligning with the global directions set at COP28 to reduce dependency on fossil fuels and embrace sustainable energy solutions. To achieve this, Australia has introduced several key initiatives for the coming years. One key initiative is the draft of the 2024 Integrated System Plan, or ISP. This plan outlines the optimal development path for generation, storage, and transmission investments, ensuring that Australia meets its energy needs while transitioning to a net zero economy by 2050. The ISP emphasizes the urgency of investment to guarantee continued access to safe, reliable, and affordable energy. Another initiative is the Capacity Investment Scheme, or CIS. The primary aim of this scheme is to incentivize new investments in clean dispatchable capacity and mitigate the risk of price shocks in the evolving energy market. According to the plan, the government plans to pay the difference when revenues fall below the floor price, and the generator returns a share of the profits when revenues exceed the ceiling. The CIS expects to attract at least 10 billion of new investment and add 6 gigawatts of clean dispatchable capacity by 2030. Recently, Australia has also expanded the CIS to introduce 32 gigawatts of new renewable power and storage to further supercharge available power in the energy grid. These initiatives demonstrate Australia's higher commitment to a sustainable energy future and paves the way for a resilient and reliable energy system. Now let's take a closer look at each renewable energy source in Australia and the accompanying developments that are driving each segment. Currently, solar energy has a consistent growth, averaging 1.1% in the last year and 36% annually over the past decade across small, medium, and large-scale categories. This is unsurprising considering that the Australian continent has the highest solar radiation per square meter, with an average of 58 million petajoules of solar radiation per year. As of 2022, Australia has the highest uptake of solar globally, with over 3 million rooftop solar PV systems being installed nationwide. As for hydro and pump hydro, while the contribution is not as significant as solar, the overall generation has increased by 2.5%, reaching 16,500 gigawatts per hour in 2022. However, Australia is subject to a high variability in rainfall, evaporation rates, and temperatures between years, resulting in limited and variable surface water resources. For bioenergy, currently it contributes about 3.8% to clean electricity in 2022, where it has been recorded to have powered over 690,000 households for the year. A major part of this segment is biogas, where according to Bioenergy Australia, biogas could account for more than 50% of all gas consumption in Australia by 2050. This outcome would see a 28% reduction in Australia's total emissions from natural gas use, helping to generate an additional 50 billion to Australia's GDP and create 18,000 full-time jobs. Transitioning to wind energy, currently it has emerged as a powerhouse in Australia's clean energy shift, contributing a substantial 35.6% to renewable power in 2022. Notably, Victoria is a leading state for this, spearheading wind power generation with around 33.7% of the country's total wind energy output. Moving to battery storage, the Melbourne Renewable Energy Hub project is set to make history as the largest battery energy storage system in the Asia-Pacific. As of 2022, 19 large-scale batteries were under construction, boasting a combined capacity of 1,380 megawatts. Among them, the Torrens Island battery leads with a capacity of 250 megawatts. Overall, these figures underscore the diverse and resilient nature of Australia's renewable energy sector, while also emphasizing its continued growth, indicating strong opportunities for future investors. Here we can see an investment map of Australia's large-scale renewable energy generation projects. Do note that these figures are based on projects that have reached a financial close and are not yet commissioned. Some notable states with the largest investments include Queensland, which currently has an impressive pipeline of 16 projects, securing a substantial 8.1 billion in investment. An example of this is the 372 million Dulaka Renewable Energy Project commissioned last year for onshore wind. New South Wales follows closely with a similar investment of 21 projects, backed by a commendable 5.3 billion investment. The state's ongoing 760 million New England Solar Farm project is regarded as one of the largest solar projects to be integrated into the national electricity market to date. South Australia and Victoria are also at the forefront of the renewables transition, with sizable investments of 1.6 billion and 4.2 billion respectively. Now that we have navigated through the landscape of renewable energy investments, it is also important to mention another key segment, renewable hydrogen. Currently, Australia's hydrogen footprint is relatively modest and is mostly confined to small-scale initiatives. However, enthusiasm for hydrogen as a clean, versatile fuel is on the rise and is presently backed by substantial investments from the Australian government and its prioritisation within their latest energy frameworks. Several ambitious targets can be noted, where Australia envisions an annual hydrogen production of 100,000 tonnes by 2030 and 500,000 tons by 2040. This versatile hydrogen is slated to power various sectors, from transportation to industrial applications. Since the release of Australia's National Hydrogen Strategy in 2019, there is now a $127 billion pipeline of announced hydrogen investment in Australia. This includes over 15 projects that have passed the final investment decision and over 80 announced renewable hydrogen projects. CSIRO, Managed High Resources, maintains a database and map of these projects. Let's take a closer look at some of the main hydrogen projects taking place across Australia, each contributing to Australia's hydrogen ambitions. Some notable projects include New South Wales Port Kembla Hydrogen Hub, where under Squadron Energy's ownership aims to deliver Australia's first 5 gigawatt capacity green hydrogen hub to support 700 million worth of major energy projects. Another major project to note is South Australia's Hydrogen Park project, featuring a consortium led by Australian gas networks Santos, Neon, and BHP. Victoria also showcases its commitment with two significant projects, Hydrogen Fuels Australia and Hydrogen Park Murray Valley. This visual breakdown showcases a diverse and collaborative effort across various states, reflecting Australia's strategic positioning in the evolving global hydrogen landscape. Now let's have a look at the state of Australia's energy trade, where it's possible to note the nation's import and export landscape based on data from 2022. Presently, Australia's trade is primarily consisted of non-renewables, with a significant share of imports being refined products, crude oil, and natural gas. On the export front, coal emerges as a major contributor, reflecting Australia's role as a key global coal supplier. In contrast, most of Australia's energy imports are of refined petroleum products and crude oil. While there are substantial contributions from non-renewable sources presently, it is important to recognize the evolving landscape and the growing potential for renewable energy exports, especially considering Australia's commitments towards cleaner energy sources. This can be noted with the $35 billion Sun Cable Australia-Asia Powerlink project, which aims to export solar power from Australia to Singapore, injecting a projected $8 billion into the Australian economy and supporting more than 12,000 Australian jobs. Here are 10 of the most highly traded energy products for Australia, based on 2022 trade volume data. Electrical static converters and power supplies top the list with an import value of $1.8 billion globally and $123 million from Italy, respectively. Following closely are machines and mechanical appliances, where Australia's imports approximately $1.1 billion globally and $103 million from Italy, respectively. From this, we can see that Australia is primarily a net importer of renewable energy products, with 2022 figures displaying a consistent flow of imports, which includes countries like Italy. As of the latest record, Australia's imports from Italy were valued at $504 million in 2020, and this increased to $626 million in 2022. This steady growth corresponds with Italy's share of Australia's imports, rising from 3.1% to reach 3.5% in 2022. Now, let's consider the regulatory landscape of Australia's energy environment. Back in 2022, Australia underwent a change in federal government and the election of several climate-focused independent candidates. Since then, there has been a strong shift in the national interest, with the Australian government focusing more efforts towards transitioning to a clean energy economy. Currently, there are a number of key policies and frameworks steering Australia's energy future, which includes companies should take note of going forward. At the forefront is the Renewable Energy Target, RET, and the Powering Australia Plan. I will cover more about both policies in the next slide, so let's take a look at some of the key players in the meantime. There are currently several key authorities to take note of, where these are the Australian Energy Market Commission, the Australian Energy Regulator, and the Australian Energy Market Operator. These entities work cohesively together to maintain a robust and competitive energy system in Australia. However, each of these bodies are also an independent decision maker with clear functions and accountabilities. As for the key drivers behind energy policy making, there are currently several major drivers to note. Climate change mitigation is unsurprisingly one where Australia is a signatory to international agreements and is committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The increasingly strong economic opportunities of renewable energy investments has also influenced national policy making as governments look to foster job creation and innovation. Finally, technological advances in RE generation has increased the affordability of renewable energy, making them more cost-effective and efficient, reducing dependency on fossil fuels. Now let's take a closer look at the two policies mentioned earlier. For the renewable energy target, this is made up of two schemes, the Large-Scale Renewable Energy Target, LRET, and the Small-Scale Renewable Energy Scheme, SRES. The LRET financially supports the creation and expansion of renewable energy power stations, while the SRES creates a financial incentive for individuals and small businesses to install eligible small-scale renewable energy sources, such as residential solar panels. By allowing large-scale power stations and owners of small-scale systems to create certificates for every megawatt hour they generate, this effectively generates a demand loop as liable entities must annually surrender these certificates to the regulator. Meanwhile, Powering Australia is another holistic plan, emphasizing an enhanced nationally determined contribution with a 43% emissions reduction target by 2030 and a commitment to net zero by 2050. The plan allocates funds for social housing energy upgrades, introduces the Small Business Energy Incentive, and establishes the Community Energy Upgrades Fund. To support these initiatives, the Australian government is investing $20 billion to modernise the electricity grid, alongside a suite of policies to propel Australia towards a cleaner landscape. Presently, evaluating energy projects in Australia is a crucial process, and one of the key assessments that companies must consider is the Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA. The EIA is mandated for all energy projects and was administered by the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, to systematically analyse the environmental impacts of proposed projects and suggest measures for impact reduction. Upon completion of the assessment, the EPA presents a comprehensive report and recommendations to the Minister for Environment. This report is then made accessible to the public, kicking off a public appeal period to ensure transparency in the assessment process. The EIA has several objectives to promote environmentally friendly and sustainable growth, and to identify viable options and propose mitigating measures. In essence, the EIA is a crucial tool and offers a balanced and responsible approach to energy development in Australia. In terms of foreign investment, should a foreign investor be looking directly to invest in renewable energy projects within Australia? Companies will need to have their proposal cleared by the Foreign Investment Review Board, FIRB, before they can proceed. The FIRB is a non-statutory body that advises the Treasurer on policy matters and reviews proposals for the alignment with foreign investment policies. As a standard procedure, the FIRB must be notified of any proposed foreign investment unless it falls below specific thresholds or qualifies for a particular exemption. These thresholds vary based on the type of interest proposed and the investor's categorization, whether they are a free trade agreement investor or a foreign government investor. This proposal should outline the nature and scope of the renewables project, specifying the type of investment. Additionally, it should provide details about the investor, including ultimate ownership and control of the project or asset. On the financing end, there are currently two key bodies to take note of: the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, CEFC, and the Australia Renewable Energy Agency, ARENA. For the CEFC, they are currently steering the nation towards a cleaner energy frontier through several initiatives. The first is the $1 billion RIF funding program, which invests in clean energy projects aligned with the Australian government's RIF 2050 plan, providing support to businesses dedicated to the preservation of the Great Barrier Reef. Another program is the Household Energy Upgrades Fund, with an impressive 1 billion allocation to empower sustainability in the housing sector, offering discounted consumer finance for activities ranging from energy efficiency upgrades to high-performing appliances. The CEFC's investment so far has totaled 1.45 billion across 29 transformative projects in 2022. ARENA also takes center stage in reshaping Australia's renewable energy landscape. Their 400 million Industrial Technology Stream ITS program will allocate funding for technology solutions ranging across several areas, including energy storage and critical infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Advancing Renewables Program, ARP, helps to drive low-emission projects incorporating renewable energy technologies across Australia. Additionally, their 2 billion Hydrogen Head Start program will propel large-scale renewable hydrogen projects to new heights. In 2022, ARENA's commitment to advancing renewables materialized in a total investment of 186 billion across a staggering 628 projects. Now let's consider some of the optimal ways for entering the Australian energy environment. Choosing the right entry model will involve balancing investment, acceleration, and market barriers. From this, we have identified 5 distinct models, each offering unique advantages and challenges. The first entry model is a strategic alliance or a joint venture. This approach is often seen as the ideal model due to its balanced approach. The strategy is becoming more commonplace in the Australian energy sector as international firms look to partner with local companies. The key advantage is that it provides immediate access to local expertise, networks, and an established market presence. Another example of partnerships like this is the partnership between Siemens Energy and the local Australian company, Edify Energy, to develop a 100% green hydrogen production facility in Queensland. Such partnerships mitigate the high level of difficulty and regulatory complexities associated with Australia's energy market. The second would be direct investments. This involves acquiring a local company or establishing a subsidiary. Furthermore, mergers and acquisitions in the energy market are growing, with over 35 energy deals announced in 2023 alone. This has contributed to 2.1 gigawatts of brownfield capacity and 29 gigawatts of greenfield capacity. However, while this approach allows for significant control over operations, it can be a slower path to market presence and necessitates substantial financial resources. There are also difficulties rooted in overcoming regulatory complexities and local market knowledge barriers. Therefore, this model is more suitable as a long-term strategy for companies requiring a firm and deep commitment to the Australian market. Thirdly, licensing and technology transfer can facilitate rapid acceleration with minimal investment. Italian companies can license their technologies or expertise to Australian counterparts. However, it's essential to note that effective communication and alignment with local partners are critical for successful technology transfers. As for exporting energy, equipment, and components, this is another promising entry model, primarily due to its lower initial investment. However, while exporting allows for a relatively quick market entry, partnerships still offer a smoother path due to local established connections. As for project development EPC contracts, these demand significant financial commitment, primarily due to project-specific investment. However, this approach offers limited acceleration, as bidding for projects typically is feasible only after establishing an entity. There are also significant hurdles, including strong resistance from local competition and unions. So Italian companies must exercise caution when adopting this model and consider their long-term sustainability. As for the market potential of each key segment within the renewable energy sector, we have also evaluated each based on opportunity levels and competitiveness. Solar power, unsurprisingly, stands to have a significant share of the market presently due to the increase in distributed solar power installations and small-scale solar power generators in the recent years. This sector's dominance is evident in the substantial increase in cumulative installed capacity and the remarkable 36% annual growth over the last decade, positioning it as a front-runner in the energy landscape. Similarly, wind energy is a major segment that can be perceived to have a high level of opportunity, especially in offshore wind. This sector benefits from Australia's extensive coastline and favourable wind conditions. As the government emphasises clean energy, offshore wind projects are gaining traction, providing a promising avenue for investment and growth. Hydropower follows with moderate growth prospects, with power generation in this segment increasing consistently for the past 3 years. However, there are some opportunities which companies can take advantage of in terms of skill supply, which will be covered further in the next slide. As for bioenergy, this sector continues to develop and play a useful but smaller role in the energy generation. Since the release of Australia's bioenergy roadmap, there is continued interest and investment nationwide, but there are still lengths to go before we see a more widespread utilization in the energy mix. Similarly, there are also strong potential across green hydrogen and storage transmission technologies, especially when considering the Australian government's substantial investment, such as the $2 billion Hydrogen Head Start initiative and support for large-scale batteries. However, these segments are still lagging behind when compared to the more accessible and solar wind categories. As you navigate these segments, make sure that you tailor your market entry strategy to capitalize on unique attributes and prospects within each. Here's a breakdown of the opportunities and experience levels across various sectors in the renewable energy industry, where it reveals the respective skill shortages which Italian companies have an opportunity to fill. As we can see in this matrix, it covers a range of factors from project management to transmission. Each column represents a different segment of the renewable energy market: wind farms, solar farms. As for the color coding, the scale indicates the level of experience, with green shades indicating skill shortages and opportunity supply, while the orange and red shades highlight greater maturity and higher competition. Interestingly, pumped hydro, which is circled on the top, appears to have a major skill shortage. This suggests a critical need for expertise in the design, construction, and operation of pumped hydro storage systems, where Italian companies can take advantage of this to contribute to the development of projects in this sector, bringing new and innovative solutions. This is the same for storage and transmission infrastructure, indicating that the market will need expertise as well to develop more supporting storage technologies to ensure consistency in daily patterns of energy supply and demand to offset drought periods. Another area of interest with skill shortages is the warehousing and distribution segment. The evolving landscape of renewable energy requires efficient warehousing and distribution systems to support the growing demand for components and materials. This presents an opportunity for Italian companies to optimize these processes and ensure a streamlined supply chain for the renewable energy sector. Similarly, the sector for end-of-life products and circular economy stands out too. As sustainability gains prominence, the need for effective recycling and circular economy practices are paramount. Italian companies can thus play a role in developing and implementing strategies for responsible waste management within this sector. Based on our earlier insights, it is thus possible to identify 3 key opportunities and challenges for Italian companies. In terms of the opportunities, firstly, Italian companies should leverage on their market knowledge and guide local firms through complexities, aiding in strategic decision-making for new projects. The coming years will be complex, and it's more than just capital that is needed. An understanding and deployment of your in-house capabilities will differentiate you. Secondly, fostering collaboration between Italian companies and local Australian suppliers can contribute to the growth of a resilient and self-sufficient renewable energy supply chain, diminishing reliance on imports. Additionally, Italian companies are well positioned to launch profitable innovations in renewable energy technology, capitalizing on the growing demand for sustainable solutions in the Australian energy landscape. However, Italian companies will face several challenges, which includes lengthy project approval times, which will impede the swift deployment of renewable energy in Australia. There is also uncertainty in the current regulatory landscape, characterized by inconsistent carbon reduction policy making. This is attributed due to Australia's being one of the world's largest coal producers and exporters, and a series of governments have resisted pressure to scale back the industry. Lastly, Australia grapples with a substantial infrastructure gap, particularly in storage and transmission technologies. Without a step change in their capacity, there is an increased risk of delaying coal closures, undermining rapid emissions reduction. Here are just some examples of players that you can engage in Australia to assist with your entry. By engaging with these diverse entities, you can establish a strong foundation in the Australian market and build a presence within the local energy landscape. In summary, there are several major segments in which Italian companies can discover robust opportunities. These include rapidly growing sectors like solar and wind, specifically in solar, where technological advancements are driving efficiency, and wind with its increasing capacity and cost effectiveness. Italian companies can position themselves for substantial growth. Furthermore, untapped markets such as hydrogen, energy storage, and large hydropower hold significant promise. In terms of market opportunities, Italian companies stand to make substantial contributions by providing expertise in supply chain management, logistics, and distribution, with a particular emphasis on optimizing transportation and storage. Moreover, engaging in end-of-life or circular economy activities, like supplying recyclable batteries, perfectly aligns with Australia's sustainable objectives. Italian companies can also bring compelling value propositions to the Australian market, particularly in hydropower, where their established capabilities can be leveraged to meet Australia's increasing demand. Their track record in navigating the dynamic domestic renewable energy landscape speaks volumes about their competence and adaptability. To navigate the Australian market, Italian companies should look at strategic collaboration. Partnering with state governments, ARENA, and the CFC provides not just regulatory insights, but a deeper understanding of local dynamics. Overall, Australia's pursuit of becoming a major global energy player demands urgent efforts to boost efficiency and clean energy investment. A comprehensive governmental approach is vital for reducing fossil fuel dependence. Successful initiatives like rooftop solar highlight progress, but swift action is needed to decarbonize the power sector through renewable energy zones, grid projects, and decreased coal reliance. Entry paths for companies large and small exist, but overcoming challenges in fossil fuel dominance requires legislative support and sustained efforts to encourage clean energy adoption. Australia's potential as a renewables-powered economy awaits funding, ambition, and strong leadership. Thank you all for your attention. If you have any questions or need further information, please feel free to ask. We're here to assist you on your journey to becoming a key player in Australia's energy environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kai, for that. And please note that this is just the tip of the iceberg. It was just a selection of the many slides about this theme that were put together and that we'll be happy to share with you all afterwards. Now, because you also in one of your last slides mentioned even the Chamber of Commerce that were already thanked by the Trade Commissioner at the start, but yeah, I would also like to thank them all. We've got 4 chambers of commerce in Australia. We also have got the consulates that and the consul and consul generals that are joining with us today. So thank you very much. It's a bit of a strange time, unfortunately, this time between Italy and Australia with all this time difference. So I know it's been an effort even for Italian companies to connect in this particular time of the day. Well, we've got David Connolly-Hay, Business Development Manager, Invest South Australia, Department for Trade and Investment of South Australia. And David, please go ahead with your presentation. We caught up with Invest South Australia just a week and a half ago, I think, and they of course highlighted to us the great potential of this state. Each of the states and territories in Australia, as you have heard, has got potential and important projects in the pipeline. But because we caught up with South Australia, it was only natural to give them this platform. Thank you very much in advance, David, for this.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for the Italian Trade Agency for giving us the opportunity to present at the tail end of the presentation. Greatly appreciate it. Now, can you see my screen just before I start presenting?
Sure. Yes.
Fantastic. Great. And thank you, Kai and Altius as well, for painting the picture of the actual trajectory of the landscape and the exciting landscape that is underway in Australia with regards to renewable energy and hydrogen. I'm here to talk quickly about South Australia, and the slide that's up now just gives you a geographical layout of where South Australia is. As you can imagine, it's the bottom end of Australia, but we're centrally located and we have a tremendous landmass. But what makes South Australia appealing for the renewables transition is the fact that we have some of the best coincidental wind and solar resources anywhere in the world. So I'm not just talking about Australia, but I'm talking about the globe combined. We have some of the most reliant wind and solar resources, which is also surrounded by critical infrastructure as well, which makes it more appealing. So just moving on, South Australia has been on a very rapid path towards energy independence. And we have, as of now, 24 wind farms, 5 solar farms, 6 grid-scale batteries, and Australia's largest hydrogen electrolyser. So we have one of the first, or the first, large grid-scale battery that was commissioned back in 2017 with Neoen and Tesla, which is the Hornsdale Power Reserve. And that was a result after a 2016 blackout that the state incurred that had some catastrophic consequences. So the state wanted to shore up its electricity supply, and the big battery was the result of that. And that was commissioned in 100 days. So that's really set the benchmark for a lot of the bigger batteries or grid scale batteries that are deployed anywhere in the world. Just moving on, South Australia generates over 70% of its electricity from renewable sources. So we decommissioned our last coal-fired power plant in 2016. So we have a combination of wind and solar that provides the state the majority of its electricity needs, and that is firmed up with the remaining 30% through gas. So South Australia is well on course to actually become 100% renewable by 2030, and there's even talk of that becoming ahead of time, maybe around 2028. So we're definitely on track for leading the globe and leading Australia as the pioneer of that renewables transition. I think Andrea mentioned it before as well at the start of the presentation that South Australia has a lot of rooftop solar, and South Australia is no different. Being blessed with an abundance of natural resources, we have over 1 in 3 homes that has solar capacity. That's just a slide of some of the projects that we have underway, positioned in South Australia, the world-class projects, whether it be hydrogen, wind, solar, or battery energy storage systems. Now, the important slide here is the hydrogen jobs plan. So that was an election commitment from the Labor government of South Australia to develop a hydrogen power plant and storage facility in Whyalla in the Upper Spencer Gulf of the state. So that will be 250 megawatt electrolyser, a 200 megawatt hydrogen fueled power plant, and a storage facility with almost $600 million in state funding towards that. So that is set to be operational and commissioned by the end of next year in December, which is quite exciting for the state. And to give you some sort of idea and some scale of how big a 250 megawatt electrolyser is, currently at the very bottom of the screen there, that is a 1.5 megawatt electrolyser operating in Tonsley in South Australia, so my home state, which is a 5% blend of hydrogen gas into our gas network to power cooking gas appliances in the network. And you see above that is the 20 megawatt Iberdrola electrolyser in Spain, and we're set to build one that's 250 megawatts. Now, we understand that doesn't happen in one fell swoop. That is a gradual modular approach to actually make that developed over a period of time. And why? Australia, as I mentioned before, South Australia has an abundance of solar, wind and solar, and we have a lot of energy produced throughout the course of the day via solar PV panels, and we need something that can actually absorb a lot of that load. So we figured that hydrogen will be one element in the supply chain that can actually take up some of that load and actually use that to as a backup power source and to feed into industry. The state's also committed to other hydrogen projects that actually partner with industry. So we've got the Port Bonython Hydrogen Hub, and we also have the Cape Hardy Industrial Hub, which will be a multi-user, multi-commodity port in the Eyre Peninsula of South Australia to export hydrogen and use it domestically as well. South Australia has over $20 billion in the pipeline of renewable energy projects, all at various stages of maturity, and the state is committed to reaching its target of being 100% renewable by 2030. So that unlocks a lot of opportunities for investors, because South Australia doesn't necessarily have all of the expertise. You know, we're more than happy to partner with government, academia, and industry in various capacities. Our steelworks in Whyalla as well is looking to move to electric arc furnace at the end of 2025 to produce green steel. And South Australia is blessed with a lot of mineral and mining commodities, such as magnetite, which is the raw material for producing. Just a snapshot of some of the key projects that South Australia has underway as well. So some of those are large scale, some are demonstration projects, and some of those are proposed. But it gives you a very good indication of the vast array of different projects that we have, whether that be hydrogen electrolyzers, hydrogen fuel cell buses, export opportunities with green hydrogen, and other assorted projects as well. To support this, the state government is supportive of the Northern Water Project, which will be a 260 megalitre a day desalination plant. As you can probably appreciate, South Australia sits in the dry state in the southern hemisphere, so water is something of critical importance for us. So the state is committed to ensuring a reliable supply of water to unlock a lot of these opportunities in the upper north of South Australia. The state's also just passed a regulatory framework called the Hydrogen and Renewable Energy Act, which is fit for purpose regulatory framework that actually supports renewable energy and hydrogen projects in the state. So it's the first of its kind. It looks to be enacted later in the year, and that will just give a one window approach to government and for proponents developing renewable energy projects in the state. And finally, obviously the key takeaways from these slides are that we are committed to decarbonisation, and it requires a lot of inputs, whether that be through minerals, renewable energy expansion. South Australia has and is blessed with some of the best natural resources anywhere in the world. We have a lot of opportunity waiting, and we're more than happy to work with government, academia, and industry in uncover those opportunities. So I encourage anyone that has any interest in accessing opportunities in South Australia to look at the Invest SA website, and we have a list of current and proposed projects that investors can look at and take stock of. And please feel free to get in contact with me. My details are located on the website too, and we are more than happy to work with proponents in bringing this decarbonisation targets to life. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And that was, I know, even a very sort of quick sort of engagement on your side. So thanks a lot for putting that together and illustrating the opportunities so clearly. Thank you. So we are, of course, a little bit late, as we had a couple of technical issues at the moment. But feel free to write your question in the chat box of the streaming. So let's see if we've got any questions coming. Feel free to also, if you can't think of anything on the spot to send the questions our way, and we'll make sure to reply even afterwards. But while we wait, perhaps we can ask our speakers if they would like to make any comments or final remarks, so feel free. We already have got a few thanks popping up in the chats. So yeah, I'll say perhaps the Trade Commissioner, if she would like to, you know, give some remarks while we wait potentially to some questions.
Yeah, thank you, David and Kay. Very interesting to hear from you. Kay, the comment you to comment the results of the study. One thing to read, one thing to comment, you know, and to be involved in the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. There are a lot of opportunities in South Australia, sometimes not well considered, let's say, in respect to other regions like New South Wales or some other states, and yeah, very interesting. So from my side, I'd like to propose this project again, because, you know, the aim of this, the purpose of this presentation was to present to you data's opportunities, market strategies, but also it would be important for us to be able to give a follow-up to all these presentations. And I just would like to show you again some facts, just so down here, very briefly.
And while you find that, no, have you found that, Simona? Yeah, okay, cool. Otherwise, I was gonna answer quickly to a question that popped up.
Yeah. No, it's not it. No. So you can answer in the meantime. I find the
yes. So for the question regarding tenders, Australia has got a very precise and comprehensive network of websites that monitor and inform the public about tendering procedures. So feel free to write us an email and we can provide you with the full list of tenders, both at the federal and even the state level, where it's very easy, even with, you know, you can subscribe and receive notifications for the very, you know, type of tender that you want to be alerted on. And in terms of the other question for the presentation, of course, we will make sure to share the full presentations to everyone that participated today. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't find the right way. However, just to let you know, I just would like to show you some data regarding the All Energy, which is the largest exhibition taking place in Australia as far as the renewable energy is concerned. And the last year we had more than 400 exhibitors and more than about 12,000 visitors. And it's an international exhibition. Some exhibitors came also from Europe, from Israel, for example, Germany, France, Netherlands, Great Britain, and also there were visitors coming from Europe and Africa, North America, Asian Pacific, of course, and there are really top buyers represented there. coming to visit the exhibition, and mostly they decide. I see here business development, owner, CEO, director, president, engineering. So with also a purchasing authority value, very interesting purchasing authority value. I'm very, I apologize if I can't share with you this data, but I will be also glad to share with you later in a second, in a later point, if you request also some information, more information about All Energy Australia. So I don't know if is there any other.
Perfect. So there was a question about whether there are any, where is it now? It's gone up. Are there any incentives for Italian companies that would like to open a branch in Australia for supporting the supply chain of green hydrogen?
From Italian side or
Perhaps
or
both.
local government? So from Italian side, so incentives, we are not the right organization for this. You should contact the CMEST that normally assists the companies in such projects. And but there are also, I don't know if David can answer to this question, because normally also the states have some incentives for foreign companies investing in their territory. So David, for example, in South Australia, is what's going on?
Yeah, we do. I'll have to check the criteria. We have one called the Economic Recovery Fund, but to be honest, I'm not sure if that's for domestic applicants only, or whether that has a contingent for international, which would obviously incorporate Italian stakeholders. So I apologies, I don't know offhand, but as Kai was talking about, at a federal level with ARENA funding, there are certain mechanisms in which we encourage proponents to go and have a look. But that's not to say that we can't judge things on a case-by-case basis. So, you know, we'd encourage any proponents that are looking at investment opportunities, just engage with the local investment officers in various states in Australia, because there's always in-kind support that we can provide, whether it be financial or some sort of other incentives to attract investment. So apologies, I don't have the information offhand, but yeah, like I said, please you review each state's investment agency, and that might shed a little bit more light.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wanted
Even
to add
Invest New South Wales, I'm sure, has got one of the you know, focus industries for sure, renewable energies. We need to check on each sort of state and territory government website as far as on top of the federal level. And someone, thanks Simona for pasting the link of Energy Australia 2024. This important, the biggest and most important event for energy and renewable energy in Australia that will take place later this year. So if you are interested in this market, we certainly encourage you to make contact with our headquarters in Rome, so that we can, you know, count you in while we make a decision for this initiative, important initiative.
Yes, the colleague Francesca Lanza sent a survey. It was an expression of interest, so you can take part to this expression of interest. Should you be interested in, or should you have a potential interest in participating to this exhibition? However, she can provide you with all the information by request.
Yes, in the next phase, I will send to all the company participating to this webinar the information about the fair.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Well, look, if we haven't seen or missed any questions, because we are kind of half an hour past our time. We could even, conclude shortly. And I don't see any other questions. So I'd like to thank everyone for being here with us today. I'll leave the floor to Simona for the last words.
Yeah, thank you very much again, everybody. And we are at your disposal for further information on the market, of course, and also for any other information you should require on about all energy, and we can support you also on each kind of request you should you want to address to our friends, authorities, friends and colleagues, and yeah, the office is at your disposal, really, as far as the promotional and assistance and information activities are concerned. Thank you again, and we hope to see you in Melbourne in October. And have a wonderful day ahead. And thank you and goodbye, and thank you again to all the speakers and all the people connected, and all my friends that I work with that I can't see here. I don't have the list of the participants, people, but okay. Have a wonderful day ahead and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.